And we're live.
And here we are. Happy New Year, everyone.
Well, give people a chance.
What? To
I don't
get
even
where?
have people here anymore. Yet.
Oh, we have to wait. Okay, we can wait. I can wish them a Happy New Year again. I can do this
You
like all
can. You can go ahead. You can talk. I'm sure they're here.
day. Well, we may have lost them. I mean, we're about 20 minutes behind our normal
We
time.
are 20 minutes behind.
Sorry, guys. There was an attempt at doing something new and cool, and it failed miserably. But here we are, doing our thing. And happy to be here. Happy that the new year has come. Tyler isn't entirely sure about that part, I don't think.
I'm typing stuff. Trying to tell everybody what the problem was.
You don't have to tell everybody what the problem was. We just had a technical difficulty. I told them that. That's it.
Nobody was here when you said that.
No, but I said it on Facebook.
Oh, that's right. Okay, anyway. Let's get set up here again. Everything's such a mess. God damn it.
Now we can only see his head. There we go. Now we can see his head.
There we go. I'm back. I'm here. Everything's right. Everything's how it should be. We have viewers, we have listeners, we have watchers. It is the Pop Cult Experience 2022 year in review. To start things off, we'd like to thank you guys for, of course, paying attention and tuning in and listening to us and whatever for the last 3 years that we've been doing this, including the one that just went by. So now we're going to take a look back at the year that was, all the movies and shows and music and news and shit that we took in, and fucking talk about the best, the worst, the fun, the everything. Once we get into it, I will possibly put the invitation link if anybody does want to jump in and talk with us after we get through our yippity yips for a bit.
Are we having the yips? I think having the yips means that we're freaking out and we're gonna just bail, shrink off screen.
I am freaking out. But I know what will help.
He's going to pour himself a drink. That is what he's going to do. That makes logical sense. I mean, he apparently, oh good Lord, that's a lot of margarita mix.
That is a lot of margarita.
Do not drink all of that over the course of this stream.
I make no promises.
I mean, I have a full bottle of wine. I am also not going to consume all of that over the course of the stream. Oh. In fact, right now, water. Water is the important thing. So we'll just,
water.
I had a full glass of wine in the 20 minutes it took us to set up. I think I need to take a break.
Well, now I have to do a bunch of homework.
A bunch? What do you mean you have to do a bunch of homework?
Well, because I did like the program we were going to use.
Uh-huh.
I just have to figure out how to use it.
Oh, yeah.
Not today.
No.
I mean, for future endeavors.
For future endeavors, yes. But for now, we are here. And we are using the program that we are used to. That we have used before. And successfully done so. So, it's good. So, how was 2022 for you overall, really?
Well, let's ask people listening.
Mm-hmm.
We asked the people listening how 2022 was for them. We can talk about how 2022 tried to kill us.
It tried to hurt me. It definitely is not leaving me, or didn't leave me in the best state. But it didn't really actively try to kill me the way that it tried to actively make sure that you were removed from the planet. All because you swallowed the stupid peanut. Or excuse me, not swallowed, inhaled.
Well, as much as this doesn't have to do with pop culture, it does have to do with the show, which may not have actually happened had any of my issues been more nefarious. So first, back in January of last year, I had eyeball surgery.
Yes.
Where they had to reattach one of my retinas. So that was fun, and I got to wear a patch and be a pirate for a couple of weeks.
Yarr.
Just good times. Then in May, I spent 10 days in the hospital with pneumonia.
Yeah.
But that all started with 2-month span before that, of initially swallowing the peanut, then going to the doctor with coughing and breathing issues, and him just saying it was probably allergies or something and putting me on a puffer,
Yeah.
then going to the hospital, them telling me it was COVID and sending me home, then going back to the hospital and them telling me that it was just some muscle strain and sending me home, then going back to the hospital and finding out that it was complicated pneumonia.
Mhm.
Um, all because I hawked down a peanut into my lungs and it stayed there for a little while until now. I will give my first doctor credit for putting me on the puffer. I
Yeah,
did
'cause you
eventually cough the peanut back up,
out. Yeah,
probably thanks to the puffer and the expanded airways and whatever that it does. So
yeah.
I guess good on that. But the peanut did eventually come back up. But unfortunately, that was about a month from swallowing the peanut to finding my way to the hospital,
Yeah. So our
where the
PSA
infection and everything grew and grew. The infection in my fucking lungs was basically the Grinch's heart after the Who
mm,
started singing on Christmas
mm,
morning.
mm. The PSA from this being, if you inhale some food, make sure you get it out right away. Right away.
Well, as soon as it came back out, I thought that I was fine,
Yeah.
but the infection had grown. Anyway,
Yeah.
then I after that I had COVID. Then I broke some ribs.
Mm.
What was the most recent thing? That's something just
I
recently
mean,
more happened.
it blood pressures and things. You know,
Oh
we're
yeah,
old.
I can
So,
have a
you know,
stroke
we're
any
broken.
moment.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
Yeah.
this year has been not not disappointing, but maybe
Mhm.
lackluster. One,
Mm.
because we didn't get to do as many episodes as we wanted to,
Yeah.
because one of us is in the midst of um, PhDism
Yeah, and
and
it's
working very hard at that. And
an
I was
exciting
just literally
period.
trying to survive the year.
Yeah, well, you know, and I also had COVID twice, and then my body decided to make some rocks, and
Oh, that's
then
right. You are
not
currently dealing
finishing.
with some
Uh,
stoning.
yeah. So you know, like we're old, and and things are happening to us now that they're not supposed to.
Also, this was a weird year in pop culture
It
because
was. It
even
was.
though this was the year that kind of the pandemic ended, as people would like to say, that it became less of a problem. This was the actual year where 2021 and 2020 affected it because
I
movies that
was
were
just going to
supposed to
say,
come out
yeah,
this year
we
would have
felt,
been made in 2021 and
yeah,
2020 and they weren't getting made. So the
yeah,
movies we got this
yeah,
year were basically holdovers that were supposed to have been put out
yeah.
earlier and stuff like that. We
Yes,
didn't
or ones that
have
had been so far into production that they just couldn't stop. Like
right.
you know, things like Maverick, which did manage to come out. It was definitely delayed, but you know, they pushed and they pushed and they did as much as they could to deal with the COVID protocols because it was already so far into it that it would have made less sense to stop. But we definitely didn't get the same level of things that we would have gotten otherwise. Although,
Now,
you know, when
it
we look
it
back over it,
made it did make for some good viewing because we didn't get as many
no.
say big blockbusters in like the summer months,
No.
but that did give us some other movies that we did manage to find and check out that were very good, and maybe people wouldn't have noticed them if all of the, like if the summer had been blockbuster filled as
Mm,
usual.
maybe,
If this year
maybe.
had numerous Marvel movies and a Fast and the Furious and something like, you know, the summer blockbusters, the Transformers, of this, of that, or whatever, maybe some of the movies that are getting some notice may have flown farther under the radar.
I don't know. I don't
So
know.
this could
We
be a
don't know.
good
We
year
can't
if
say.
you are more of an indie film auteur and got a little more notice. Didn't have to fight for theater time and stuff like that with the big
Mm,
boys, we'll say.
maybe. Well, the big boys weren't in the end that big, honestly. Like, I mean, they
No.
did release the some of the blockbuster. We had blockbusters. We had Thor. We had Doctor Strange. We had what else did we have that was like a
Yeah,
big
but they
deal?
all happened before the summer. Thor, I think, was the last big blockbuster, and it was in May.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true. Not so much
But
in
I
the.
mean, if there was big blockbusters happening all through the year, would we have spent as much time as we did scouring to find the odd but amazing movies like RRR
No, maybe not. Yeah.
or Banshees or even
I think
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I think Banshees and Everything Everywhere All at Once would have still caught our attention. Just I mean, for with based
Would
on
we have
who was
checked out
involved.
Emily the Criminal? Black
Yeah,
Phone.
perhaps not. Well, Black Phone probably because of our horror thing, but Emily the Criminal maybe that would have.
We wouldn't have watched something like I Love My Dad,
No, definitely not.
which I
That would have.
actually thought was a very well
Yeah,
written, if
we might have.
slightly hard watching kind of and Patton Oswalt, like, absolutely spectacular in that.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it, but I don't think I would have checked it out if
Hmm.
there was more to go out to the theaters and
Yeah.
whatnot to see.
Yeah.
Every like the movies that came out this year, other than the handful of big blockbusters,
Hmm.
were sit at home and enjoy kind of movies and dig a little deeper into the. This is also a better year for I think series.
Certainly had some good ones for me. I definitely
Yeah, there
appreciate.
was a ton, but I'm thinking that maybe the lack of a ton of movies to go see led people to stay home and take in more series.
Well, I mean, I think still a lot of people, certainly, people that I know are still being a bit cautious about going out to theaters because even though the the threat of the pandemic is less, it still exists, and a lot of people are still trying to control their exposure possibilities. So home is still the preference for many kind of thing. So, taking advantage of streaming movies, streaming series, that's still certainly very much a part of our culture. And I think it's going to be continuing to do so. Although certainly like some of our some of our streaming services are making that more difficult as we are finding. Netflix, of course, is has upped its prices and is going to be making password sharing very much more challenging and all of that kind of stuff, and that's coming. So we'll have to see how that impacts things in the future.
Yeah. For those at home, seeing as we're on the movie portion
Mhm.
of our year in review, what did you check out
Indeed.
this year that was top of your list or bottom of your list?
What
What
was
did
your
you Yeah, what was your favorite movie and
yeah.
what was something you watched that you possibly regret now?
Also,
If
what was the biggest surprise? You know
Yeah,
what I'm like because there were a couple of things that came out this year that I first of all, we had no idea they were coming in some cases, like with Werewolf by Night. And they ended up being really fantastic things. So there were certain ones that when they came, we were expecting them to be good, and some of them were, some of them weren't. And then, but there were a couple that definitely that definitely gave us a really pleasant surprise as to
yeah,
good
this
quality.
year was fun because I found a lot of the big blockbusters disappointed. The the ones
Indeed,
that were supposed to be grand
yeah,
ended up not being, and
yeah.
some of the ones that were under the radar a little bit turned out to be some amazing, amazing movies. Because for me, Thor: Love and Thunder was
I mean, we were so excited. It was Taika Waititi. We were after Ragnarok. We were had these like super big expectations, and it was okay
it
at
was
best.
okay. It
It was
was
at best.
okay. I just went to see Avatar 2,
Hmm.
a 3 and some odd hour movie that could have easily been 2 hours long, and even
Hmm.
those 2 hours would have been a, "Huh, yep, that happened. That was a movie."
Yeah,
Visually, absolutely stunning. Story-wise, character development-wise, everything like that, very mediocre.
yeah,
Like, not like, I guess if that's what James Cameron wants to do is just make things that look shiny but don't hold substance to them, then fine. Like he said, spent 10 years working on the underwater tech, and yeah, it looked
good.
good. But if you don't put fucking dialogue, story, characters behind your pretty pictures, it doesn't really make a movie for me.
No, no.
So
Although funny enough, in that same vein, Top Gun Maverick, not so much with the story, but it was still pretty great as far as like as far as a blockbuster film went. I think it hit
the
all of
thing
the right.
is that Top Gun
Mhm.
is going to be funny because Top Gun worked well off the nostalgia.
Yeah, yeah, Indeed.
Avatar didn't work off
Oh,
the nostalgia, but that's
yeah,
because the 13 years in between Avatar and Avatar 2 aren't the 30 years in between Top
yeah,
Gun
sure.
and Top Gun Maverick. I
Mhm.
mean, you don't get nostalgia until something is, I'm fairly sure, 20 plus years old.
Well, maybe, and I mean, there wasn't a lot to get nostalgic about from the first film, in my opinion.
I know,
So,
but I mean, the first movie was the highest grossing movie out there for the longest time
well, yeah, I think everybody was
until
curious.
Endgame came along.
Yeah, I think everybody was curious about the film. I think, like, the 3D tech made people want to go and see it. But
Yeah, but
I
you don't hold the number one position without people going to see your movie multiple times and
maybe,
spreading word of mouth and whatnot.
yeah. I guess. I mean, it is the kind of thing that you would have brought your kids to see and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't have children, so I don't really like think of those kinds of things when it comes to entertaining small humans. But of course, that would have been a factor with Avatar. But yeah. Eh,
So we got a list here. Squeaky, of course, is much like us. Everything everywhere was exactly as amazing as she thought it would be.
good.
Um, she's the only one playing along so far.
Okay. Well, hello, Squeaky. Thank you for
Fucking people.
saying hello.
So we were surprised by things like Werewolf by Night,
Yes.
Emily the Criminal, The Black Phone. I
Yes.
thought was a very atmospheric and well. I wouldn't call it a horror movie. It was definitely a thriller.
Hmm.
Well done. The Prey prequel,
Oh
if you
yeah.
want to call it that.
Hmm. Hmm.
That was much enjoyable. Bullet Train for its just
That was
sheer
a nice surprise.
that was like Avatar only done better because it was all about the sheer spectacle of it,
Yes,
the
absolutely.
hyperkinetic action, the fun, whatever. But it came with enjoyable characters.
Yeah.
It came with good dialogue. It came
Hmm.
with comedy.
Yeah.
None of what was elsewhere. Um, what else we have here? RRR, of course, was just
Oh yeah. RRR.
staggeringly
That was
so much fun and so well
that was
done.
insane.
And
Yes.
yes, I know it has like the Bollywood hokiness to it, but
Yeah, but that's like
purposefully, and it
that's
just added so
exactly.
much to it.
Yeah, and I don't have any problem with that over the top sort of thing when I know to expect it. Like and even
Hmm.
then, I don't have a problem with it if it makes sense in the movie. Yeah, yeah, if you get what I mean. Like if it's the right
Oh no, I
fit,
completely get what you mean. I mean,
yeah. If it
from
fits,
the opening scene, they were told you what this movie was going to be,
Mhm.
and you were like, okay, I'm in for the. I mean, there is a amazing like 7 minute long dance number, Nacho Nacho,
Yep.
that literally made me want to learn. What's that
Yep.
dance called?
I don't.
Well, you're the one that told me it. The
I
dance style.
I
Perry,
oh,
Perry, the whatever.
that oh shoot. No, I've lost that at the moment. I don't remember
Okay.
it in my head.
By the
But
way, none of us have prepared anything for this live stream,
nope,
so
this is just chatter.
this is just us chatting about the year. Um, keep going down the list. Slashback,
Mm, mhm.
Top Gun, Everything Everywhere All at Once, amazing. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I'm happy to see Sam Raimi kind of back on top ish,
Mhm.
doing doing what he does well. There was
There
some
was
good
some
stuff
good
in that movie.
there was some good Sam Raimi moments in that, and I did like it overall, but it didn't blow me away. You know, like it
No,
has
it was there and it was fun and I
yeah.
enjoyed it and you could see Sam Raimi's stylings in it.
Oh,
Uh, but it didn't disappoint
hmm.
like
No,
some of the
it
other
wasn't
movies
disappointing.
of the some of the other bigger movies and Marvel movies and superhero movies of the year did. I enjoyed Ambulance, but then again, I knew what Ambulance was going to be. It was going to be
Mhm.
an action-filled Michael Bay. It's going to be a lot of Bayhem, and it was.
It was yeah,
So I enjoyed
I'm
that.
not as big of a fan of the Bayhem as you said.
Ambulance was also Yeah, Ambulance was also, I think, just a Michael Bay audition movie for his new drone filming style.
For Dream Tech.
Because he went a little over the top with some of the drone
Mhm.
shots. He was like, look what it was like James Cameron in Avatar going, hey, look what I made.
what I can do.
There's Michael Bay doing, hey, look what I can do.
Yeah.
It's like those two are having a competition to see who can make things look prettier
Yeah, who can out tech
without
the
filling in any of the substance.
Mhm.
What else? Weird was
Oh, yeah.
great.
Of
Wakanda
course.
Forever was great.
Mhm.
The Batman, can't forget the Batman. I mean, that was
It was something.
very, very well done, very atmospheric. What Batman should be now, I
Hmm.
feel. We've had a couple of different iterations of the Batman.
Yeah.
What we haven't had is Detective Batman.
True.
And that's what I liked that this took over. We had the campy Tim Burton Batman. We all love Michael Keaton. We all love Jack Nicholson as a Joker and stuff like that. Then we had the
Uber
Christopher Nolan
serious.
Batman,
So uber
the more
serious.
serious, I'm Batman, grumbly fucking shit.
Yeah.
Then we had the Snyderverse Batman, which I'm not sure what we were trying to go with there.
Yeah.
And now I do like the new detective dark broody Batman that we're going with now. And I like that they're keeping it separate from the rest of the DCEU so that we can have possibly campy or lighthearted or whatever Batman still in the universe.
And maybe that means also James Gunn isn't going to cancel it.
No, James Gunn has said that the Batman is staying in DC, but is not becoming part of the DCEU.
Yeah.
It's going to be its own entity, which means you're not going to see like Harley Quinn's Joker or Margot Robbie's Harley
Yeah.
Quinn in it, or any of the Ezra Miller's Flash or any of
Okay.
them included in its own identity. Its
Okay.
its own
Its own,
thing.
its own IP.
Yeah. Jurassic World Dominion was a disappointment.
No.
Mad God was
Crazy.
special. Like the talent it takes to make that movie is like it's something else, but the movie itself kind of didn't gel with me
Yeah.
as much.
Mm-hmm.
And no, the next Batman isn't a musical. The next Joker is a musical.
Yep.
So Lady Gaga will be playing Harley Quinn, and Joaquin Phoenix will be coming back as the Joker, of course. And it is called Joker Le Jeu de something. Anyway, it's the next Joker movie with oh fuck, who made that? Todd.
So the
Todd
original,
something.
like
Todd
the
Phillips.
last,
Is it Todd
the
Phillips?
last iteration of Joker. I don't have it off
Yeah.
the top of
I'm
my head
just
at the
Googling
moment.
it for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody talk amongst yourselves.
La 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 la.
Yeah, Todd Phillips. That's right. So his next Joker movie is going to be a musical with Lady Gaga. I'm not. We talked about it on the podcast.
I'm not.
I will definitely have to see.
Oh God, it's going to
what
be
they do with it.
Yeah, it's going to be a spectacle. Whether I like it or not is another story altogether. And who knows? Maybe I will. Maybe I'll think it's amazing. I have definitely been a little bit off the mark with a few, or not off the mark, but have ended up having some unexpected appreciations and reactions to things this year that I didn't think I would like. I did. Things I thought I would like, I didn't. And so,
Oh yeah, let's talk about those. Movie I wanted to hate so much. Uncharted.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of their casting. Tom Holland does not need to be in every fucking movie being made right now. I'm getting tired of him like I am The Rock.
Not tired.
I don't need these two people in every single movie that is made. But sadly, Uncharted was just a fun romp and I enjoyed it. The other side of it, Nope, a movie I wanted to like so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Jordan Peele and it's his shit and I'm obviously dumb and I just wasn't clever enough to get all of his different meanings and his different
I disagree.
stories and wants out of it.
I'm not going to say that it's because you're dumb. I think that it was just a little bit harder to plumb, to be honest with you. Like one of the other films that we did watch and appreciate this year, Banshees of Inisherin, that has a whole lot of layers going on, but it wasn't so deeply buried that it was hard for us to detect and incorporate and contribute to the enjoyment of the film. So it's not just that. It's about how it's done.
Now, I thought about Nope afterwards,
Mhm.
and I replayed it in my head, and I started to grasp, and we've had conversations about it.
Yes, of
It's
course.
definitely a movie I'm going to have to watch again
Mm, I do
and
recommend.
maybe get a further appreciation of it
Yep.
from more viewings. There are movies out there that actually
Do
do
take more
need
than one.
extra viewings.
Yep.
Like, I'm gonna have to watch Banshees again.
Fair.
Just because, as you said, there are a lot of layers,
Yep.
and the Irish Civil War going on in the background,
Mhm.
well, it is going on in the actual background of the movie,
Yeah.
plays a huge kind of metaphorical role in the movie itself,
In incredibly
which
so.
I only
Yes.
started to really kind of pick up on near the end of it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I would
You're
give
like,
it another watch, I
"Oh."
will see it all the way through,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. You'll be
I don't
looking
think I
for
was giving
it's just
anything away on that.
yeah. No, 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 no. I mean, and I think that that's a handy thing to know going in as well,
Yeah.
that
And
there is
also,
metaphor there.
we recommend everybody watch Banshees
Mhm.
of
In a Sharon. In a
In
Sharon.
Sheeran.
In a Sharon.
We recommend that everybody watches it, but it is a tough
It's
watch.
it's heavy. It's heavy.
I mean, it's from the guy who did In Bruges, which was a dark, dark movie in itself, but absolutely hilarious. And then he did Seven Psychopaths, which for me was probably his lesser of the four, but still enjoyable. It's had Sam Rockwell, Chris Walken, can't go wrong. Woody Harrelson, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
Then he did, of course, Three Billboards,
Yes.
which was
Outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
amazing. Again, Rockwell again, and
Mhm.
Frances McDormand, fabulous. And then he did this. So
Yeah.
this is from Martin McDonough,
Mhm.
written and directed. So if you like In Bruges, if you like Seven Psychopaths, if you like Three Billboards, this is the
It's in that vein. Yeah.
it's in that vein, but darker with less of the comedy
Yes.
overtones
Yes.
to kind of save you.
Yeah.
Like In Bruges, as dark as it was,
It
had
it was
so
it
much
was
comedy layered into it.
lots of comedy in there. Yes.
Yeah. No. Okay. Let's let that go. Um, but yeah, so definitely highly recommend it. But it's tough. It's not a fun movie.
No.
It's serious. It's got amazing dialogue and well written
Mhm.
characters and
Mhm.
everything. But the
Gorgeous.
the
Yeah.
story, the stuff, the meanings and the stuff behind it are they're
Yeah.
they're
And truly the most enjoyable or the film that I enjoyed the most from this year being Everything Everywhere All at Once. That also benefits from more than one watch. There is a lot going on in that one.
sorry, which one?
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh yes, of
Yeah.
course. That fucking movie is an onion. That fucking movie is Shrek.
There
There's a
is
shit lot of
so
layers to that.
yes. So, it definitely I like movies that kind of that you get more out of from watching more than once. Truly, I do. I have learned to appreciate that over time kind of thing. That there are
Yeah, not every movie needs to just slap you in the face right
yeah,
from the first viewing. Some of them take time. Like, I don't think nowadays, because of streaming services and everything else, I like movies to make their money and stuff like that.
of
I
course.
would recommend everybody go see a movie once in theater.
Mhm.
I love the theater going experience. That's
Me too.
that's on me, and I
Yeah.
love it. But I wouldn't recommend going to see any movie a second time in theater.
Mhm.
I would recommend seeing in theater the first time, waiting a couple of months until it comes out on streaming or home video or VOD or whatever, then sitting down in the comfort of your own couch, living room, basement,
Mhm.
wherever, and just letting yourself get into the movie. Because I find sometimes with these layered and difficult movies to watch and understand, you can lose a bit of it in the theater going experience. I
Perhaps.
liked seeing Everything Everywhere in the theater because there
Mm.
was a lot of spectacle that
Yeah.
needed to be shown on the big screen.
Yeah, yeah.
But it wasn't until rewatching it at home
Mhm.
that I got to, like, just kind of invest one-on-one with the movie and kind of dig through some of because when you're in the theater, something funny happens on screen, everybody laughs, you miss the next thing that happens,
Perhaps.
can't hear the next bit of dialogue and whatnot, and maybe there's a little gap that you just don't have. It's sitting at home. By the way, if anybody hasn't watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, shame
Mhm.
on you.
No, well, okay. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit.
But
Yeah,
go watch it like
a teeny bit.
immediately after this.
Yeah. I mean, you're not working tomorrow, I hope, and if you are, I'm sorry. Go watch
I'm not
it.
working tomorrow, so I'm okay. Um, yeah, that speaking of Everything Everywhere All at Once, we do have a little mini trophy for it because it
And
is
it
being named. Oh
really
yeah, we're giving out little mini trophies this year. Last year we had little envelopes with people's names and stuff in it. This year we have little mini trophies because Everything Everywhere All at Once, if anybody wants to agree with us, is our movie of the year.
yeah, definitely. And we would really like it if Ki Hye Kwan or Michelle Yeoh would personally come and accept it from you. That would be great.
Oh yeah, that would be great if any, if either one of them
Or
wants
the
their little.
Daniels. I mean, we wouldn't be averse to talking to
Jamie
the
Lee
Daniels
Curtis can
either,
fucking come
you know, like, yeah,
if
really.
he wants.
I mean, who would say no to that? So anybody, just feel free. Ooh, or James Hong. Come on. That would be epic.
Now,
So,
we are giving Everything Everywhere All at Once our nod for fucking best
yes.
movie of the year.
Yeah.
And in March, I believe it's in March,
Hmm.
we will be doing our pre-Oscar Oscars.
Yeah.
So Oscars happen on the
12.
Sunday of March
March.
12th.
Yeah.
March 12th. So
Mhm.
on March 11th, we are going to be doing another one of these live streams, where we're going to be doing our pre-Oscar predictions and giving out the awards as we see that they should be handed out. And we're going to be adding in our own categories because if you listen to our podcast, you are probably aware that we feel that certain categories and certain aspects of the movie making, uh, everything that goes on behind the scenes and stuff, are missed in the Oscars. So
Yep.
we are adding those categories in and we're doing our own Oscars. And of course, as we just stated, Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to win our Best Picture Oscar. But I wouldn't say that it was I'd say it was probably a foregone conclusion that it was going to win. But that doesn't mean that there was other movies that's in the that I would highly also recommend, as we already discussed, RRR. If you
Mhm.
haven't watched that, it was up there for it was definitely a nominee for Best Picture this year. I would also put Marcel the Shell with Shoes On
Aw.
up there. Absolutely love that movie. That was nostalgic based for me too, because those short videos came out 10, somewhat 15 years ago or whatever.
Mhm.
And I fell in love with them back then. So that was another movie that came out this year that I was all over. Top Gun Maverick, one of
Mhm.
my movies of the year. It was just so much fun. Like you said, it's not like it was anything different than what we'd seen before, but just the retelling of him as the instructor and the new cast of Top Gun pilots and everything else, it just added something new and fun to it, and I
Mhm.
thoroughly enjoyed it. Um,
I actually quite recently caught Elvis, the the
oh yeah,
the Baz Luhrmann pick. So not a biopic, really. Definitely meant to be more of just of a musical film. And one of the, I really, I was really quite surprised by it. So of course, like everybody knows who Elvis is, but this was more about a story of his roots kind of thing, and they did a really fantastic focus on a lot of like the black performers of the time, so like BB King and Little Richard and Sister Rosetta Thorpe and just all of these names that of course have become important to rock and roll, but have only really started getting a lot of recognition in the last few, well, people like BB King have been famous for years, but there hasn't been as much attention to some of these performers as there should have been, kind of thing, considering their contributions to rock and roll. So it was a very different thing than I had expected it to be, and it was really a lot of fun to watch, kind of thing. And
well,
of course,
speaking of, sorry,
no, I was just going to
um,
say, of course, we watched Banshees, but the
speaking of not quite a biopic,
hmm
Weird,
yes,
Weird was
the antithesis,
absolutely
the
amazing.
absolute, yeah, the antithesis of a biopic. Yes.
Yeah, fucking Daniel Radcliffe, who we didn't do an entire episode, but did a large portion of an episode on
Mhm.
recently
Mhm.
because this cat is slowly becoming one of my favorites out there.
Yeah.
His
Yeah,
choice
yeah.
of roles since leaving Potter has been like stellar.
Mhm.
Not resting on laurels, not getting typecast in any
No,
way. I mean, from
he's
Guns
doing it.
Akimbo to Swiss Army Man to Horns to Weird to the Woman in the Black Dress to
Yeah,
just like
Woman in Black, yeah.
he he's literally gone through every genre, and I
Yeah.
fucking love it.
Doing stage productions like Equus. I
Yeah.
mean, he's
I mean, the
he
first thing he does when he comes out of Harry Potter is get fucking stark raving naked on stage.
Yep.
What a way to shed an
Yes.
image.
Just in case you thought I was a small kid wizard, here you go.
Look at my wand. Ow. Anyway, yeah, definitely check out Weird if you haven't yet. I mean, it's Weird Al poking fun at the whole mismade biopics.
Yes.
The biopics that we've seen in the last couple of years, like I've heard nothing but shit reviews from the Whitney Houston one
Oh, I bet.
because there's nothing official about it.
Ooh.
And they're basically just saying it's just vignettes of her life that the makers of the movie gleaned off of like TMZ.
Eee,
So,
that's not showing
so
proper
Weird
interest
goes
for
about its way to make fun of these hokily made fucking
yeah, yeah.
biopics that
The the
don't tell the real stories. They're
the
just there for
extraordinary
entertainment.
drama that, that they
Yeah, the
do.
exploitation almost of
Yeah.
it all.
Yes, yes.
Um, I think that pretty much covers movies. Again, if anybody out there wants to recommend a movie that they
Yes,
watched this year that
that
we
we haven't
haven't
mentioned.
mentioned, I'm not.
Yep.
I'm not. Oh, another movie that mildly disappointing for me.
Mm.
3,000 Years of Longing. There's another
Oh,
one that we had
yeah,
such high expectations for,
and it was like parts were good,
and
but it didn't quite stick
because I
it.
mean, it was Tilda, it was Edra,
Yeah.
and it
Tilda
was
Swinton and
George Miller.
yeah.
Like right there, it was just it was it was everything it needed to be.
Mhm.
It was like a Terry Gilliam style like fantasy
Yes. Yes.
like I wanted it to be Brazil,
Maybe. Yeah.
and it just
It
and
didn't
it
quite
just wasn't quite there.
didn't quite get it, but I mean, it was still
By the
lovely.
way,
It's
speaking of
still
Terry Gilliam,
mm,
when's he doing something again?
I don't know. I mean, he's an old man.
I know, but I want more from him. Anyway, that's off topic.
Yeah. No, no.
But that can be one of my wants for 2023, which
There
we'll
you
get to
go.
at the end.
Please, please, please.
Anyway, we spent a lot of time talking about movies.
Well, yeah, because we watch a lot of movies, and that
We
was
do watch a lot of movies.
really a lot of our focus this year, even with the podcast, right? Was tending to focus towards movies. We didn't life in the universe didn't allow us to do quite as many specials this year, and I tend to watch more TV than you, so movies was kind of our thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not complaining with a big portion, as you said, of our podcast is movies. We like to watch movies, like to review
Mhm.
movies. We like to tell you guys what movies you should watch.
Yeah.
What did we think about the Black Panther movie? I liked it
Yeah.
in general. I thought it was a very good goodbye to Chadwick,
Yes.
and I also thought it was a very good um fuck. How am I gonna put what's her name? Queen.
Oh, are you talking about okay, yeah.
Angela.
Bassett.
No, yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was a very good uh
She was stellar.
spotlight of her.
Yes.
She was absolutely amazing in it. The movie itself was a Black Panther movie. If you took away her standout performance and her character, and if you took kind of away that it was like an in memoriam of Chadwick
Wilson.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that, it was a regular Black Panther movie.
Yeah.
It was a regular Marvel movie. We had good guys, we had bad guys, we had action, and that was actually, I think, where the movie suffered more for me. When it was being an emotional goodbye and like an emotional, like Angela Bassett's character dealing with grief and everything else, I thought it was a stellar movie. When it just became a regular run of the mill superhero movie, when it chose to do that,
Yeah.
I thought it was exactly that. a
Yeah.
regular run of the mill
Yeah.
superhero movie.
Yeah.
Um, I enjoyed it. I'm not
Yeah. Yeah.
it. I don't think it offended me as much as something like Thor: Love and Thunder did.
It wasn't
Like it
as
was
I think I wasn't as disappointed. Like, I
no, but then again with Black Panther 2, I don't think I was as not
invested.
excited, but as anticipative of.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
as you
Yeah.
s after Ragnarok, I thought we could do no wrong
Yeah. Yeah.
with Thor, with
Yeah.
Taika and everybody coming back and stuff like that. I thought there was no
Apparently
way we can
incorrect.
fuck this up,
Yeah.
and then they did. Whereas
Yeah.
Black Panther, the original movie, while I enjoyed, wasn't one of my favorites.
Mm.
I thought it was a very well done movie and, definitely had, like, a really strong placing in the MCU and everything.
Mhm.
I prefer the Black Panther character in the other iterations, like in Civil War and Endgame and Infinity
Mm.
War and stuff like that, than, Black Panther itself, only because it was problematic in some of its special effects and whatnot. Again, all technical stuff. The movie itself, the storytelling, everything else was there and it was great. Um, so I don't think I had the same anticipation of Wakanda Forever.
Mm.
So it didn't disappoint me as much because again, it's a good movie. And I wasn't holding it up like fucking
Yeah.
Simba,
Yeah. Yeah.
fucking like I was Thor, fucking looking at over all the geeks going,
Yeah.
this
Oh.
is the new king, like type shit. So I enjoyed it based on the fact that it didn't disappoint me
Mhm.
or my expectations of it.
I definitely was a big fan of all of the female performers in there. So, getting introduced to Riri, of course, who we will see in 2023 in Ironheart, and getting to see Denai do her Okoye, awesomeness, and Michelle Cohen or Michaela Cohen, sorry. So yeah, there will, and Letitia Wright
Oh
and
yeah.
Lupita Nyong'o. I thought I was really impressed with, like, the female star power that was going on in that. Some really stellar female characters, kind of thing. So that was, and I enjoyed the action scenes well enough, kind of thing. But the biggest impact, of course, was, yeah, Angela Bassett, and also the tribute to Chadwick Boseman was really touching, especially at the beginning. I was definitely a little bit weepy at the beginning there.
What was my miss of the year? Anybody out there have a worst movie that they saw this year?
Mm,
I think mine might, funny enough, be something like Moonfall.
mm. Oh, come on, did you have expectations of that?
No, I mean, it wasn't a disappointment, and I was hoping
Oh
for more.
God.
But I mean, it was a movie that we forced ourselves to watch just so we could, you know, kind of semi make fun of
I
it,
mean,
knowing that it was going to be the schlocky end of the world disaster.
at least it wasn't trying to be anything else, I guess. Like, as much as I couldn't have cared less about that film, at least I don't think Emmerich was trying to do anything else with it.
No,
Whereas I had much higher expectations of YTV than what we got for Ragnarok. I had much higher expectations. So that was my big disappointment this year.
I also had a lot more expectations for Wendell and Wild than what we got.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that one was a little bit like, oh, that wasn't as good as we wanted. Somebody have a thought?
Uh, yeah, Chris, who, yes, Chris, we will be getting you on in a short little while. We will be putting the invite in the comments, so if anybody wants to jump on and chat with us for the like last little bit of the thing and get your thoughts, they are coming. But he expected better from Avatar, which we talked
Okay.
about. It
Yep.
was that movie could have been 2 hours long and still probably would have been a slightly disappointing 2 hours, but it
Mhm.
was a highly disappointing 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Mhm.
Okay. Movies. I think we're done with movies. That was a
I
lot of
think
movies. We took in a
we
lot of
did.
movies.
Yep.
Um, Go back and listen to all our episodes if you're looking for something to watch that you haven't seen. There was a ton of shit that we checked
Or
out this
avoid
year.
things that we said, don't do it.
Yeah, that's one thing that we don't tend to do is we don't allow ourselves to watch too much shit. Just because
Okay,
why
but
put yourself through that?
Yeah, but we did
I
watch
mean,
things.
I feel we need to put ourselves through that a little more so that we can educate the masses on shit that they shouldn't watch. But
No,
I
we
mean,
did
if
enough of
if
that.
we don't watch it, don't watch it yourselves.
Yeah, I mean,
That's an easy thing to go by.
yeah, I mean,
The
we did.
surprise I think of this year
Uh-huh.
for me might have been Werewolf by Night,
Oh yeah, that was
only
definitely.
because it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I came out on it. We
There was
didn't know what was
barely
happening.
any
Yep.
notice on it.
Nope. It was
And
awesome.
then it's only like what 40 minutes long or something. Like it's a little short
Yeah, yeah, it's like a
film
45
almost,
minute thing. Yeah.
but done in like the old like fucking 40s, 50s
No, even
style.
earlier. It's like Art
Yeah,
Deco kind of stuff. So it
kind of
Golden
stuff.
Age. It's meant to be sort of like filmed in the 1910s, 1920s kind of thing. And yeah, and it was humorous and stylish and good action, and yeah, it was a really lovely thing. What?
Okay. Um, Chris brings up a good point, and so does Ashley, who of course brought up Jurassic World Dominion, which I breezed over because it was a mockery of what that was one of the movies that I had some of the higher expectations
I
because
don't know
new
why.
cast melding with old cast. I don't know. They had Alan and they had fucking Laura Dern and
I know. Yeah,
they
there
had
was.
Malcolm and everybody back. And I was, I was, I was, and then I should have known because Jurassic World was okay. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I started to see the cracks in the fun, and then of course Dominion was. But Chris brings up Black Adam, which we're just not mentioning at all.
No, no, I didn't. I wouldn't. I didn't even.
Currently, we're not mentioning anything. Two things I will mention from DC at the moment.
Mhm.
One, which I don't know why it isn't in here. Was it this year? Maybe it was last year. Suicide Squad.
Well,
That
that
was
was
early this year, was it
2021.
not?
No, it was
That was last
2021.
year. Okay. So that's why. But in the series, which we're moving on to now,
Mhm.
I will give DC one prop so far this year, and that is Peacemaker.
Mhm.
We did talk about the Batman, but the Batman is DC. Now we're going to talk about DCEU, which is
Yeah.
where Black Adam falls in. And I watched that, and it was an utter that movie I shouldn't have been made,
Yeah. I mean,
or it should have been made, and then they should have watched it in post production and went, "Whoo, let's delay this a little longer." And then, of course, it became problematic because there's cameos that we now know will never show up or never
uh-huh.
come to fruition and stuff like that.
Yep.
We'll talk about that because that's one of the big news items from 2022,
Mhm.
which we'll get to after. We're going to move to series now because this I thought was one of the better years for series.
Yeah, I certainly found some really
I
awesome
found some really
series.
good stuff, but it was also a very hit and miss year for series because there
Mhm.
was a bunch of series out there that I expected more of again, as like with the movies, and that didn't perform. And then other ones that came out of nowhere and I guess performed. Like I thought Disney kind of went 50-50,
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
where
there was I
movies
mean,
like
they did some really
uh
great they did some really great stuff, and then they did some stuff that we were like, "Oh, no. No, no. That wasn't that didn't do it." So
no, like if you want to talk about stuff like like when I say Disney, I'm kind of wrapping everybody into one. So
well,
this is
I mean,
Marvel, Star Wars, everything.
yeah.
So we'll go with Star Wars.
Okay.
Andor. My
Mhm.
God.
Amazing.
Probably my series of the year.
Yeah.
And yes, I did end up going to go back and watch more of it. Haven't finished it yet, but continued on, got a couple more episodes into it.
It is
Because at the
brilliant.
time we recorded it, I'd only watched the first three
Yeah.
when we did our review on it. You
Yeah.
went through and watched them all. After that,
Yeah.
I'm slowly
Brilliant.
catching up.
Yeah.
Probably and surprisingly so, series of the year for me.
Yeah. It was not when they announced the series way back when, and I'm sure you could find it if you remember the episodes where we talked about it. I was like, meh, like I honestly
Everybody said that.
didn't give two shits.
Andor had no like anticipation behind it from what I
No,
remember.
no,
And the ones that did have all the anticipation behind, I'm
no,
sorry,
no.
Obi-Wan, that
Mm,
was horrible.
I didn't
Boba
think
Fett,
I didn't think Obi-Wan was horrible. I just didn't love it, and
okay,
it was okay.
Obi-Wan, maybe not horrible, didn't live up to what Obi-Wan should have been.
It could have been much better. Yeah,
And Boba Fett, same thing, didn't
yeah,
live up to it.
yeah,
Boba Fett was problematic that when the best reviewed and watched episodes were the ones where they had to bring back Mando.
yeah.
You know you're not fucking running a very good character when you need to bring in another character to save
Yeah,
face, basically.
yeah, indeed. That was not that one was not well done. I didn't really care for the fact that we had the little Leia running around in Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
I could
no.
have done with that, honestly. Like it's not like I don't think that Leia Organa is this amazing character. Of course I do. But I just didn't care for that that angle of
Well, you and
things
me
at
also
all.
have similar problems with kids in movies
It
when they're
sometimes
used
no,
as that
yeah,
exact ploy.
yeah, and
Like
when
they're just
they're
used
the
to almost be
over
annoying.
yeah, when they're overly precocious and just that kind of level of ridiculous, no thanks. Like
Yeah.
in the Ghostbusters Afterlife film, fucking love the kids that were in that. Absolutely love them. But not in Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
It
well,
was
yeah, like Leia in fucking Obi-Wan was oddly used as like a annoying protagonist to Obi-Wan himself.
mhm.
And that's what I didn't enjoy. She was just an annoying kind of bratty thing.
Just yet another Anakin.
And I 100% agree with Ashley on her comment that Netflix did Cowboy Bebop dirty.
Yeah, I understand that that is how people feel about that. I had no
Yeah.
previous investment in the property, so I enjoyed the show, but I understand that anyone who was a fan of the series beforehand was like, "Nope." So,
Yeah, if you knew anything about the series before watching it,
yeah.
you were 100% against it. If you didn't have any previous connection to it, you could have probably enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What else? Sticking with the Marvel side of it. Um, didn't like, didn't really like Moon Knight. Wasn't
It's
a
okay.
huge fan of She-Hulk.
I liked She-Hulk and I loved Ms. Marvel, which you didn't take in,
No, I
unfortunately.
didn't. Who I was gonna bring that one up because that was it was like on the Disney side of it,
Yes.
Andor, woo, other two, Obi-Wan and Boba Fett,
Mhm.
woo. And then on the Marvel side of it, Miss Marvel, woo, She-Hulk and Moon Knight,
Yeah.
kind of from like it was.
Yeah.
It's like they're only allowed one solid, strong show, and everything else has to just kind of be thrown by the wayside almost.
Yeah. I still I understood what
You
they were
really
trying
like
to do.
She-Hulk, and I get it.
Yeah,
I can see it.
I like, I
I
got what they
couldn't
were
get
trying to do.
past the fact that this is Disney and you're giving me fucking dude at home fucking special effects.
It was the special effects were not good. I will completely agree with you on that, that they were
And it
not
took me
as
out of
well.
most episodes.
Yeah. They were the effects on her in particular were not what I would have expected given that the show was about her. So, I
Yeah.
think I don't think Disney did well by her in that way, but I thought the writing of the show was really fun. I really enjoyed the way that they did it. And I know that you didn't really appreciate some of the comedy of it, and you didn't really like what they did with Daredevil in there, but I was a fan. I had a good time with it.
No, yeah, I my only real like I know that She-Hulk was basically like a sitcom almost style
Absolutely.
presentation
Yeah.
of it. So, I mean, I get how some people would laugh and find funny the walk of shame, the Daredevil walk of shame thing. I was like,
Oh, love that. Yeah.
I was like, eh. But then again, we're coming from two different sides of it. That was a show written with a female mind in mind.
Yeah.
Like,
We
and
certainly the intended audience. Yeah.
yeah, and I didn't find that it was written enough to where somebody like myself could also enjoy it fully. It was very, and I'm not saying that's problematic in any way because everything up till this point has been one-sided writing in the other way for the most part. So this was swinging the seesaw the other way, but I thought it was overly written for the female consumption and enjoyment, and didn't give the male Marvel fan enough. Not saying it had to. I mean, that's really on me to decide whether I enjoy the what I'm getting or not. And I didn't overall, and maybe that's because I'm a closed-minded asshole, which could very well be true. I'll need to do some self-evaluation on this, but some surprises for me this year was how bad Halo was,
Hmm. Well, I
how
mean,
good Shorzy was.
Halo had this weird arc for us because it was like you were not happy with the concept.
Okay, Jennifer Mulligans needs to explain her "Oh, Tyler." I'm pretty sure I just talked shit about myself. I don't think I need anybody else to jump in on this. I understand my problem with She-Hulk probably. Like I get it. I mean, but anyway, Halo was
So like Halo
so
was a
much potential.
bizarre because like you didn't like where it started, and then you kind of got on board, and then and
Then
then
I
it
fell off the
like
wagon.
and then it was like through the middle you were quite pleased with it, and then the end of it just it screwed the pooch, and it
The
screwed the pooch
ending
for me too.
ruined the entire show for me.
Yeah, it was like, what is that pile of garbage?
Everything I enjoyed up to that point, I was like, oh, well, thanks.
I'm gonna have some more wine now.
That's like taking like my favorite book and then just beating me about
Mhm.
the face with the hardcover edition of it and making me hate it afterwards.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Shorzy, which I
I
wasn't
hadn't
sure I
taken
was
that
going
one
to
yet,
because Shorzy, of course, is from the Letterkenny people, and
and is like
Shorzy was a
literally
very
the most.
annoying character in
Mhm,
Letterkenny.
mhm,
And I was like, I don't know how they could make a show about this guy. And then they filled him oddly with, and I'm talking about Shorzy on this
mhm,
fucking thing because that's how much I enjoyed it. It wasn't one of the biggest, best, brightest shows to come out. Like we have interviews with the vampires to talk about and Sandmans and House of Dragons and shit. But Shorzy surprised the
Perfect.
ever living shit out of me for being as good as it
There you go.
was. And then the most recent season of Letterkenny, which just started on Christmas Day or whatever,
Mhm.
such a just I don't know. Maybe I have to rewatch the season. Maybe I wasn't feeling it. It was it was a
Well, there wasn't.
hodgepodge of
They didn't
crap.
do. They didn't do. I still like the series, the season, but they didn't
They
do as
didn't
many.
do an overarching story. It
Less.
was basically just episodes of Kids in the Hall. It was
Yeah,
just little
basically
vignettes.
the only thing that was kind of continuous was the whole DGen angle of it, um, but they didn't do as many nostalgic callbacks as I
Yeah.
usually like. You know that there wasn't any. I don't think they did a To Be Fair bit at
No.
all, which was like, oh, um, and
But
there.
what was funny is I think they did too much
Mm,
of the names sounding like names.
mm.
Like when they rhyme off like movie titles using one. Those things dragged on for 20 fucking minutes of a 24-minute show sometimes. I was like, what is going on here? With
They
just
are
them all like when they did the whole breathing thing with how people talk in movies that
right.
what's her name dislikes, Katie that hates.
Yeah.
That went on for like 10 minutes of a fucking 20-minute show.
Mm, yeah.
So when I said to you when we first talked about it, is that I thought they've run out of ideas.
I think that they were perhaps not on their A game for this season. I will say that, but they were touring this year, so
And
maybe there was.
Mulligans agrees with me. Letterkenny, not the best this
Yeah,
season.
it's not the best season. I completely agree with that, and I think that they probably had their energies divided between the tour and the show a little bit too much. So it wasn't
And
really.
possibly Shorzy.
Yeah, also, yeah, that's true. Like that's yet another thing that they were that was on the plate. So, it wasn't the best thing. There were some good moments. I still liked a bunch of it, but I don't think that there's anything from this season that I will take as like a quote. You know what I mean? Like I almost always come away with
Right.
some kind of quote from from the seasons that I didn't. So, what was your did you have a particular so is Shorzy your standout series for the year?
No, Shorzy was my surprise series
Okay.
of the year.
Okay.
I
So
think either
Andor is still.
Peacemaker or Andor is my series of the year.
Yeah. Okay. I would.
Peacemaker was just too fun.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what my surprise would have been. I think my surprise was Interview with the Vampire. I didn't think I was gonna like it nearly as much as I did. it was, and I've been like telling everybody, I'm like, you got to see this thing. So I think that was my big surprise for the year. Just
Now, my
the
comeback of the year,
uh,
season 3 of The Boys,
okay.
because we talked about the lesser of that was season 2 of The Boys
Mm,
repeatedly during
and
last year,
and you had found that they were just going over the top with the violence for over the topness's sake, kind of thing. That was a bit
whereas in season 3 it was still over the top, but it seemed
more appropriate.
necessary.
It seemed
Yeah,
more appropriate, more
appropriate.
fitting, kind of thing. Yeah,
So The Boys season 3 I thought was the best season of The Boys yet.
cool.
We The Ring of Power I thought was well done.
It was beautiful. It was slow
So
though.
good to look at.
It was slow and kind of predictable,
Yeah. Well,
which
you knew like it's a prequel, you know where it's going.
yeah, well, yes, but
But
also
we
we
can
were
say
like
that about a lot of the shows this year. I mean, we know where
yes,
Andor is going as well. We know how
yeah,
that ends.
yeah, it's true, we do. Yep,
Still an amazing show. You
yep,
watched House of the Dragon and you
I did, and it
Oh,
was
let's
much
actually before we get into this talk,
yes.
let's talk about your disdain for prequels.
This is what I was saying before is that, like early I definitely learned this year that maybe I should give more prequels a chance. Because I was totally not willing to initially watch Rings of Power or the House of the Dragon, and I ended up quite liking both of them. So, maybe I should not assume that prequels are going to suck. And Cassie and Andor is also just like that, right? It's a prequel technically, and I was also not on board with it because again, I knew where it was going. But as it turns out, I really like the way that they have structured that because it's really the explanation of how the rebellion really began, and I think that's fucking amazing. So, because that, I mean, when we get launched into the Star Wars universe as children, the rebellion was already happening. This is how it actually became a thing. And I think that that's a really fascinating examination, and perhaps maybe could encourage some different politics in the near future.
One thing I didn't check out, but that I heard was stellar, was season 4 of Stranger Things,
It was.
which
It was.
was really just two-hour long movies.
Yeah. It was. I thought it was really well done. I'm looking forward to the conclusion. I was at first I thought that the season 4 was the last one, and when it ended, I was like, wait, what? And then thankfully no. So
I just recently watched Chainsaw Man, and if you're
so
into manga, this
that's
is
a thing.
fucking stellar.
That's a thing and a
But
half.
did you get around to watching it when I
I watched the first episode of it last night,
uh,
and
fucking
it's crazy pants. And you think it's going to be like based on like the notion, the concept of it. You think it's going to be this super silly thing. It's not fucking silly. It's not
no,
silly. it's,
no, it
it's
gets dark at
yeah.
fucking times. I'm like 4 episodes in. I wasn't 100% sure if I could like it or not
Hmm.
because there's some problematic issues with it, but I can't tell yet if those problematic issues are written tongue in cheek
It's. I mean,
or if it's serious or if it's just like
you're
the
dealing with an
normal like almost
impoverished.
manga perversion
No, it's not
that's
even
out.
perversion. You're dealing with the
No,
desires of a 15-year-old impoverished boy. Like,
yeah,
and
and that's why I was
yeah,
okay. If anybody hasn't watched it, um, it's about a 15-year-old boy,
yeah.
which that might be my issue right there is that I didn't
You were
catch
not
that
15.
he's a teenage boy,
Yeah.
and I should have. But I mean, anyway, he ends up becoming half human, half demon, and his demon side is that he has a chainsaw for a head and chainsaws for hands,
Mhm.
and that's his superpower,
Yeah.
as you'd say. But he's a 15-year-old boy, and the only reason why he's joined this band of demon fighters,
Well, I mean, it was a life goal even before he died and became a demon was to
the girl,
he wanted to like make out with a girl. Like that was his
yeah.
thing. And so it was like it was literally a life goal because he was living alone with his
This
pet devil.
entire show is based on his want to touch a boob
Well, at least it's a
for
significant
the
motive.
first couple of episodes. I don't know what happens after that because from up to where I've watched, he's touched a boob.
Yeah.
So I don't know what his further motivation is going to be.
It's
But
I chatted with some friends about the series last night, and they were on board with it being a really well done thing. So I'm gonna like watch
I can
more.
tell that in behind it, there's a lot of deeper,
Yeah, and the
more
animation.
fascinating storytelling and reasonings and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with it. This is one of the shows where I'm going to stick with it. I was a little worried because the first 3 episodes were, in my own mind, a bit problematic because I knew once I got past this and saw the story flesh out a little more, I'd be fine with it. But I was like, because I've watched a lot of anime and manga stuff and whatnot, and there's a lot of weird shit out there. It's all for different people, all for different enjoyments, all for different wants and likes and whatnot. It's definitely not for everybody. You really got to weed through it and find the stuff that's for you in there. I
Mhm.
mean, you can go to the movie theater and watch a blockbuster, and it'll probably be somewhat of your liking. The stuff from the
Well, it's
anime
more
and manga and stuff, I think you have to dig a little deeper to find your flow, your vibe.
mm-hmm.
And this I really like it. Another one that I just recently took in was Bochi the Rock,
Mm.
which is about a teenage girl with social anxiety, and the only way that she can get over her anxiety, the only times that she overcomes it, is when she plays her music. And it's basically a musical, a Japanese musical, so it's kind of weird to listen to the songs in Japanese and then have to read the subtitles in the same beat as the music. But I got through it, and I ended up found out that I was singing along with the songs, which is fun. It's a lot like Turning Red,
Okay.
but she kind of breaks out of her self isolation and social anxiety by being in a band, where in the other way it manifests itself into a giant red panda.
Yes, which was adorable,
That's,
and it was a
which
really
was
cute
adorable.
story.
Yeah, that was one of the better Pixar movies of recent
Mhm,
times. I
mhm.
mean,
Yes.
I still wish for Pixar of yesteryear with Finding Nemo and Toy Stories and stuff like
Mm.
that. But I think Turning Red was one of the better ones of the last little while and kind of turned it around.
You know, completely unrelated to 2022, but I just rewatched Big Hero 6 today,
Oh, I love
actually,
that movie too.
and I was reminded just how wonderful that film was. I think it's a really underrated one. Like, it seems to be one of those ones that if you talk to people about it, they're like, "Oh my god, that was so sweet," but it somehow doesn't seem to be everywhere in the same kind of way as some of the other Pixar films do. So, yeah, just wanted to
Yeah.
remind everybody that that one exists,
Um,
and there's a series about it as well.
yeah, Baymax, Baymax.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, because we've talked about a whole bunch of stuff leading up to this, what do you promise to watch, Mandy? Because you said
Mm,
you promised to watch something, but we've just now talked about like a bunch of different shit. So, what is it that you in particularly promised to watch?
mm.
What else is out there? You watched Wednesday and Willow.
I did.
I
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
take those up.
watching Willow, so it's still going.
Mhm.
Wednesday was I thought it was great. Like, it is not the '90s Adams Family that we saw. So it is not Raul Julia and Angelica Houston, and they will forever have and Christina Ricci, of course. They will forever have a huge place in my heart, and I absolutely love those films. But it is still a really nicely done piece. I think the costumes were fantastic. The characterizations of Wednesday and her like close friend were they were Jenny Ortega did a fantastic job. So yay. You don't see that much of, excuse me, goodness. I gotta go now. The You don't see much of Morticia and Gomez, and you see a little bit more of Uncle Fester in this one, and of course you get some regular appearances of Thing, which are fantastic. But
I love
it's
that Thing was a real person
yeah, and
in
apparently
like
the
a
filming around
a
him
green screen suit,
was
just
yeah,
fucking
it was super tricky apparently sometimes because of course he had to like deal with, Jenny being in the way. And she's tiny. She's like not even 5 feet tall, but she's, still a whole person. So so getting around that was a little bit challenging. But yes, I thought the story was great. Like it was as dark and perhaps as edgy as the 90s Adams Family was, but it was still really nicely done. So, yeah. And Willow is I like it and I don't. So it has aspects that I really enjoy. I like the world that it's in, but there's a lot of like angsty teenage shit that I'm kind of like,
Hmm.
ugh. uh, but but Willow is wonderful, and we just had the episode with Christian Slater in it, and that was fantastic. So there's a couple of characters in there that I do really enjoy, and I like the storyline as a whole. But the but Elora Danan and her, Princess Kit are just like I just want to smack them a lot. Okay.
Now that was the W's. How about the S's? Severance and the one that you're looking forward to amongst all of the shows of the ever the shows
Oh,
of the all the shows. Sandman.
Severance was fantastic. I am like anxiously awaiting season 2. So Severance, for anyone who doesn't know what this is about, it's basically the story of a small group of people, well, really focusing on one primary character, whose name, of course, I don't have immediately with me, but I can look up in a second, where they work in a Apple slash Google slash Facebook like place, but they don't really know what the reason for they go to work. It's a super secret like place that they work. They don't really know what they do insofar as like what how it affects the company as a whole, but it's super confidential and they have to be completely secret about everything that is done within this place, and it wipes out their memory. They don't their work person and their home person are two different people, and but it's a very cleverly written thriller, and I'm really looking forward to the second season of that. So we'll see how that all goes. Super stylish, but really well done. And Sandman, I loved it. I really did. It was I was terrified of it, and because of course I love the initial property and read the comics 20 years ago, and they have always had a special place in my heart, and really liked what they did with it. I mean, of
Yeah,
course.
by the way, that was what I was expecting for Christmas, by the way.
For Christmas, you
Yeah.
you wanted me to give you all of Sandman.
Yeah, all the graphic novels.
Oh yeah, okay. I don't have that budget.
Not my fault.
Apparently I don't love him enough
We're
because
co-hosts. You find it. No,
the
I do have to pick up the books myself because I have the way that you've ranted and raved about them. I enjoyed the show myself, but I want to read
wanna read them.
and look
Yeah.
at the
Yeah,
original
yeah.
property.
Yeah, yeah, you want to see the art. I thought they did a really beautiful job of realizing the imagery to the screen. And I of course Gaiman was involved in this whole thing from start to finish. So at least I had the understanding that the product that appeared on my screen was what he wanted us to see as well. So it may not be exactly what was in the books. There were small subtle changes to modernize it, of course, and some of the actors were different than how they were depicted in the graphic novels themselves. But it was his vision, so I'm happy with it, and I thought the story was beautifully told. So yeah,
Yeah, there was
I'm super excited that there will be more to come. I hope that we get to see a lot more of it.
if there was a show or two out of all the shows that we took in this year that you would force people to watch if they haven't yet, what would it be?
I would say
It doesn't
Andor.
have to be one of our picks for the best
No,
ones. I
but
mean, it could be something that
I would say Andor for people, even for people who do not like Star Wars and don't want to be like in, engrossed in the whole big thing of it. It was still the story of the encroaching fascism and oppression and learning how to recognize that and how to rebel against it, what it takes, the sacrifices that need to be made. and and realistically the financial support that needs to go into it. I think that this was a really important examination of politics. And so even outside of the Star Wars universe, which you don't need to have any understanding of to watch this series, I think it's just unto itself a really good show.
See, that's what I was gonna say because uh not that I'm recommending it. I would recommend Andor, but if it wasn't my pick, I was gonna say because you said that for those people who are like against Star Wars per se, Andor is like the furthest thing away from the Skywalker stuff that you
Exactly.
can get
Yeah.
and still be in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. And
I mean,
but
even if you look at something like Mandalorian and stuff, you still have Baby Yoda,
mhm.
which still taught, and we've had Luke Skywalker, like he's appeared on it, blah blah blah. Like
Yeah.
Andor, you can
And
still
has
have the Star
Jedis.
Wars, Andor, you can still have the Star Wars lore and the universe, but it's the furthest thing from the Lucas hokiness that at
Yeah.
times was the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
So if you're against Star Wars, Andor is a nice, tight,
Still,
story-driven
yeah. It's still
entity on its own.
yeah, it's still a fantastic property. And of course, I mean, bolstered for me in by the fact that Rogue One is definitely in my top 3 Star Wars movies, period. So
Yep.
it's now, but you still don't need to have seen Rogue One. And in fact, I would, if you haven't seen
It'd
Rogue
probably be
One,
best if you didn't.
don't watch it yet. Watch it
Yeah.
later. Watch Endor, and then watch Rogue One afterwards. So yeah, I would heartily get behind Andor. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would have to pick Andor too. I was looking at our list. I mean, our flag means death was good fun,
Oh my god,
and
that was
it was
fantastic.
Taika Waititi doing better for
Yes,
himself than something like Thor: Love and Thunder.
that's the Taika Waititi I want. Is that? And it was great. It was so much. It was such just such a fun show to watch. Yeah, I highly recommend that one. Just a nice little like just joyful thing. It's a joyful thing.
Yeah.
That's
Anybody else?
I would say that that's not generally a thing I do. I don't tend to watch a lot of joyful stuff, but every once in a while I do need that too. So
Okay.
well, we can
From
certainly
things we watch to things we listen to,
yes. I was just
and
going
I
to say
guess watch also,
yes. There was some.
because really we're going on to music. But
Mhm.
really, the only thing we could talk about music because I don't recall any like huge albums and stuff like that coming out this year because I don't listen to Taylor Swift and
I mean, she did some pretty amazing things with her
I
album that
didn't
she
stay up
dropped.
until midnight to download
I
her
did not.
fucking album and yada
No.
yada yada.
Kudos to
But
Taylor. Good for you. No.
what we did manage to do is take in a lot of fucking live music this year.
You watched a ton of stuff. I only
I
got out
did
to
manage to make it out to
movies.
quite a few. Now, sadly, out of like the 20 live shows I went to, I'm fairly sure 15 of them were just the same bands over and over
Doesn't
again.
matter, but you
And
like
I
them.
don't mean sadly in the fact that I just mean like I watched a lot of live music, but a lot of it was just the same bands. I mean,
Nice.
I saw Civilian like 3 times this year, Taming Sari
I'm
another
jealous.
3 times, Late Night Trouble a couple of times, Resist the Throne. They put on a couple of shows and they have another one coming next week, which I have tickets for. Blah blah blah. Um, what were some of your musical highlights of the year?
So really, in the end, I mean, I took in 4 shows in the end, all told. 3 of them in 3 weeks, or no, actually 3 of them
Yeah,
in
you
10
did
days.
have one fucking stellar
Yeah,
month
so
of fucking music.
October was insane for me. So I went and I saw Placebo and The Cure, and now my brain is failing me. Why is my brain?
Twilight Sad.
No, but they were the openers for The Cure, which was great.
They
I'm
still deserve a mention.
They do because I mean, Twilight Sad is a little band from Scotland that I have been listening to for like 12 years or so, and I had absolutely no idea that they were opening for The Cure on this tour. And when they came on stage, I was like, "Oh my god!" I was very excited. And I was very excited to see The Cure.
I believe you went to see The Interrupters?
No, not the I would have loved to have seen The Interrupters, but no. I was
Oh,
trying to see Emil and the Sniffers, and I didn't get in because this show was sold
okay,
out.
well, you went to see a band with a similar name to The Interrupters then,
Are you
didn't you?
no. I saw Zeal and Ardor, which who were fantastic, but I
Maybe.
don't know I
I don't
don't know
know.
who you're referring to,
What
not The
was your
Interrupters.
4th band? What was your 4th show?
The 4th show was Zeal and Ardor. That was the one that I went to just
Oh,
before I came back to Canada. And they're like a gospel metal blues band who are fantastic. They're so good. Swiss band with like a Swiss American lead singer. Just oh my god, can do some things with his pipes. So yeah, highly, highly, highly recommend if you're especially if you're into sort of the harder edge stuff. Um, but my favorite live show was hands down The Cure. Like they blew me away. I was not expecting that a band from the 80s that well, technically the 70s actually is when they formed, but I was not expecting a band from the 80s to sound as good as they still do. They are fantastic. Robert Smith's voice is still gorgeous, and of course technically they're fantastic. They've been doing this forever, so they know what they're doing on stage. They had a great they had a really great stage show, really, amazing presence and nice interaction with the crowd. And of course, they played everything that you would want to hear. So, plus some new stuff. So they were
so
definitely
that's
my favorite.
3. What was your okay, if that was your
My,
4th, what was your
my
3rd?
my brain is failing me, and I have to go and actually like look and see what the other one was because my brain is gone. I don't get too much wine. I've
Was
had
it
too much
like The
wine.
Retaliators or something?
No, no. You talk about the things that you saw because I
Yeah,
will.
yeah. Okay. What did I go see? Um, I recently saw Biff Naked at the Bronson Center,
So
which
jealous.
was an amazing show. Seeing Biff again after last time I saw her was Snow Job, which was like 1997 or something.
No, it was 2001 because it was just after we broke up.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, no, right. Both of us were there in separate capacities. I saw JJ Wild. I saw the Halloween show with Steady Rain, Andy Negative, and Civilian.
Yeah.
I went to Montreal for my birthday and watched the
Woo!
Jailbirds, Taming Sari, and Late Night Trouble, and hung out with Chris Starr from Adam's Ashes and Mel,
Awesome.
and fucking my bestie Ashley came with me, and it was a fun night in Montreal. I went to we've seen Resist the Throne, Sunday Riot Club. Went to Cafe de Cuff to see that, and along with Crooked Mirrors, Polarity, and Civilian again. I saw the Our Lady Peace show with the NAC. Went to Blues Fest, and where is it? Where is it? Oh, that's yours. Well, I'll hold yours up because you've already said it. Where's it?
Showing
There
things
it
I
is.
don't know what it is.
Look, little trophies. You see,
Trophies!
look. They have our little insignia, and they have our. So that's Karen's pick for her best live performance of the year was The Cure with Twilight Sad,
Yep.
and my live performance of the year that I took in was the Blues Fest day that had Ottawa's own Sophie Radish, Garbage, and Alanis Morissette. Alanis Morissette got on stage, and I'm fairly sure played for an hour and a half straight, no breaks, no nothing,
Amazing.
song after song. It was the Jagged Little Pill tour that was a continuation from the previous year when it got canceled. So it's still the 25th anniversary of the Jagged Little Pill. She was touring
Yeah.
for that. So she literally played that entire album live with throwing in a couple of her newer stuff here and there. But it was mostly just a huge nostalgic trip down memory lane for the Jagged Little Pill album, which made for
I'm so
an
sad that
absolute.
I'm so happy you saw that. I am so jealous that you got to see that because, of course, that Blues Fest in 2020, I was supposed to be there for, and I was going to see her, and I was going to see Rage Against the Machine, and I didn't get to see either of them. And Rage Against the Machine ended up canceling their European dates because Zach Wild is not in good shape. So I was like, wow.
Well, yeah, I
Like,
believe he had to do the
wait,
Blues Fest show from a seated position.
yeah, he had a broken leg, so he was
Yeah.
not. Yeah, he wasn't able to. Hasn't been able to stand and perform for a while, kind of thing. And it just got. He could. I think that like doing the tour within North America was okay for him, but the notion of getting on a plane and coming to Europe and dealing with that level of travel, I think was too
Yeah.
much, and so they canceled that end of things.
The editors.
It was the editors. I was just going to say. So that was, I don't know where my brain went. I really enjoy. I've seen the editors twice. They're fantastic. They're a band based out of, like, alternative rock band based out of London, and they had a new album out this year. And I went and I saw them, and they were great, and I had a lot of fun, and totally forgot that I had gone to see them. Yeah,
Now,
not about them.
one
Not
other
about
person that I went to see and is getting their own, where is it? Their own statue for this year.
yes.
Not that one. Actually, I have two other statues here. Okay, well, first of all, I'll do the other two, because two of the other bands that we saw this year and we were going to see this year, one opened up for at the Civilian Halloween show, and that is the Parmalee produced. So Andrew, we know Andrew from Civilian, produced Steady Rain. Bunch of fucking teenagers, fucking crazy energy on stage. Yeah. Amazing talent for being like 15, 16 now.
Absolutely stellar lead vocalist there. Yeah.
Yeah. Ella Wiley, whatever. Absolutely great. If you can catch them on Spotify or whatever, they've done a couple of recent covers, just getting back into it, of Sweater Weather and I believe Animal I Become.
Okay.
And they do fucking stellar jobs of it. But we are giving them an award. And we are giving them an award along with a band that won this award last year. But we are giving it to them again because last year, Resist the Throne was literally just Rohan.
There's one person.
One guy. One very talented fucking fella who was making music on his own, blah, blah, blah. In 2022, they added to the Thrones. The Thrones have grown. And there's now 3 of them. And they're a full-fledged band.
They are.
And they are doing live shows. And they are making new music. So we figured that now that Resist the Throne.
I just wanted to say that they have a show on January 6th at the Rainbow.
Yes, we have tickets. You should get your tickets too.
Yeah.
If they have any left. Yes. I believe they had a few left. Okay. Anyway, we gave them this award last year. We're giving it to them again, but we didn't want to leave out the talents that are coming out of Steady Rain, and we feel that they are going to be huge themselves in the next little while. So we have dual Ones to Watch awards, our Pop Cult Ones to Watch award for Steady Rain and Resist the Throne. Yes. 2 bands you should check out and you should follow. I mean, they're all still in their teens. They can be doing this for X amount of years, yada, yada, yada. And check them out. And if they catch wind of this, we have little trophies for you and you can keep them. Look, they have our little fucking, our little thingy on
logo.
there. You have your little thingy on there and blah, blah, blah. So those are for you. They are our ones to watch. They put on some stellar live shows. They've both put out new music this year. Find it on Spotify, wherever you listen to your
Follow
music.
Them on Instagram, all of that kind of stuff. They did. They're some great people.
Any of the music that we've talked about on our podcasts are fucking today. Tammy Sari. I just saw them last night. They played a couple of new songs that haven't made it to album yet, but should be released soon. So that was exciting. We've had our boys at fucking Atoms to Ashes having a great time with their Heartless Year. And all the different versions, the new symphonic version of that song. It's fucking been great. Being part of the Asher family is year after year is stellar. They do so much good work there. Civilian, I believe I have a signed CD from them in my little bag of stuff, which I believe. Oh yeah, look, I have the Danielle Allard signed CD.
Nice.
It's in here somewhere. I gave it to you too.
You did. It's not with me right now. It's
I
in,
know.
in
I don't know
your
where my copy is currently either. But anyway, they put out their some new music that I heard at their Halloween show and stuff like that. Their Wonderland show, which was fantastic. Also, if Sophie Radish catches wind of all this, and of course I'll tag her when I do the thing. You can collect your trophy on behalf of you, Garbage, and Alanis Morissette.
Yep.
Because I know everybody's gonna want these. I mean, these
hot commodity,
like these
rare.
hot commodity. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not every day that a fucking shit little fucking podcast, fucking based out of Ottawa, fucking gives out fucking these massive
No,
fucking awards.
no, and
I
they are
mean,
real
Jesus
plastic.
Christ. I mean, this right here is the combined thoughts of two fucking people who think that they know shit about shit.
Yeah.
I mean, we know shit. We like music. So if we pick you as one of our fucking live performers of the year, live shows of the year, and you pick The Cure, and so if The Cure would also like their trophy or Twilight Sad,
or Twilight Sad, yeah,
they can pick them up. But the other person that I saw this year, who I haven't mentioned yet, but who has had probably one of the best 2022s out of people that we
indeed
personally know off the podcast. Like, I will just show this. If I can bring this up, if everybody can see it, I have to do it this way. I mean, her list of fucking things that she's done over 2022, from she's brought in a new album. She's done 168 virtual shows, 303 YouTube videos, 6 new original releases this year. She's raised close to $8,000 for different charities throughout 2022. 60 plus musicians have covered her original songs. She's done 6 new music videos this year alone. She's at 149 streams, 13 studio streams, 105 Discord events. She is just all over the place.
And on top of that, she's a lovely human.
Lovely human. You can catch her on Twitch like every day of the day.
All the
Time. She's always on there. She's a huge Twitch streamer. We recommend you go follow her. The shit she does on her Twitch channel, the music, the fun, she's a little bit into everything. She likes to make new music on the spot from like recommendations of the people that are tuning into her stream. She's super talented.
We need to say her name.
I know, I'm getting to it. It's right here, written on this award. Because Danielle Allard, if anybody can read that, this way, is getting our Pop Cult Creator of the Year.
Yeah. Danielle is
amazing.
And her music is lovely. She does like, I guess, like technically pop, but it's not what I would call typical, but it's also it's like it's not like it's a tough listen or anything like that.
No, it's I would call it like a folky pop.
Okay, folky pop. Yep, gotcha.
Like if I wanted to, I guess, like Luminaires style.
Yeah.
Sort of that like folk pop kind of thing. Anyway, she does a lot of different sounds. She's got a lot of different sounds. She does a lot of rearrangements and stuff like that. Like she covers a lot of songs on her Twitch channel and does like completely different arrangements, stuff like that to it. I don't know. She'll play Janet Jackson's Nasty Fucking Boys with fucking a kazoo. Like she is
a
crazy
super hardworking, really just, as I said, she's totally easy to talk to performing artist, and we highly recommend that you check out her Twitch streams, and we highly recommend that you check out her music on Spotify or whatever music platforms you want to access. She's of course also from Ottawa, and so if you get a chance to see her playing around the city, you should definitely take advantage of that.
I
got to check her out at
at the Beatbox Farm for her album release party. And it was a good time. It was more of like a meet and greet
Right.
that she kind of closed out by
Yeah.
playing the entire album live. But it was really just
Nice.
her getting the community together. And that's what she's more about, is building a community, and her Twitch is all about
Yeah.
community and rating other Twitch streams and bringing followers and the masses to other people. Like, she
Mhm.
spreads the wealth,
Yes.
as we'll say. I mean, she is a talent herself, but she makes sure that she gives as much as she receives, I'll say. I
You
mean,
yes.
if nobody out there knows this, originally this was going to be a live event. We were
Right.
planning
And
on
yeah, and
renting out the
yeah.
Mayfair Theater. We were going to do a whole
Mhm.
live event. We were going to show a movie, and this is still in the works. It's just been postponed due
We would
to
like to do it. Yeah.
it's
Health and
still,
life in the universe.
yeah. But she just offered. Well, okay, she didn't offer. We asked, but she immediately said yes, that she was going to come play a set.
Yeah.
Just because she's that friendly, and because we were going
Yep.
to do it for charity, and she wanted to
Mhm.
just jump on board because that's like the kind of stuff that she enjoys. Like, she's just a very well and good human being,
Yes. The kind
and
of person.
she is our pop cult creator of the year.
Yes.
She's really,
Agreed.
I might just change that to our pop cult person of the year. Last year we gave it to David Grohl. I
Well, I
mean,
mean,
this year,
no. Last year that we had the celebrity people, and then we also gave it to Adam's
yes.
Ashes
Well,
because
no, we gave it to Adam's Ashes for the indie influencers of the year, because the Asher
yes.
family,
Yes.
everything that they did with last year was great. But we also had our pop cult person of the year, which we gave to Dave Grohl.
Right.
And then we had our pop cult person of the year outside of pop culture, which we gave to Dolly Parton for all of her efforts, not only in music, but outside of music, and
Mhm.
the stuff that she does for other talents, and the stuff she did for
Investments in
COVID with
science.
the,
Mhm.
the Moderna, and
Yeah.
uh, everything that she's done. So this year we've just kind of combined it into one award, and we're giving it to Danielle Lard. Check her out
Yes.
if you haven't. So
Yes.
that's stuff we took in. Um, I'm gonna give the invite out here. Let
Okay.
me see if I can do this. Invite, copy the link. Okay, and I'm gonna paste it down in here. Paste. Boop. Now, if that works for anybody, I don't know why. Okay, it went twice. Oh yeah, okay. If you're listening along, you can follow that link if you want to get in on the conversation. We are now going to move on to, and kind of close this out, kind of move on to some of the bigger news stories that happened this year that we were either on board with or not on board with, and just have a general closing of the night thing. So if anybody wants to get in on any of these conversations,
Mhm.
the invite is in there. You just got to click on it, and I will get a little thing that says you want to come play with us, and I will let you in. But what was some of the? I think that's what we had. Let me check my notes. Check my notes. I made notes.
He made
People
all
don't think
sorts
we
of.
do work here. Look, I made notes. Whoa, like lots of notes. Oh, I had gaming highlights of the year.
You do.
If you own an
You
Xbox or you own a PlayStation, I highly recommend you play the following games: As Dusk Falls, Tunic, Stray, um, Somerville, and Sifu. These are all games that came out in 2022. Gears of War Ragnarok, I don't think I have to mention that. Modern Warfare 2, of course, came out, but I haven't even played it and I don't want to.
Gears of
But
War? What do you mean Gods of War?
Gods of War, yes, God of War, sorry, Ragnarok. They're both Geo. I wrote GOW, and that means both.
Okay. I was just like,
I
did
didn't want
I?
to
Did
write out
I?
the whole words.
So much
My
work.
game of the year is probably Stray.
Okay.
Stray was an absolutely amazing game. It's one of those like small indie games, so it's no more than like a couple hours long, depending if you play through it all in one sitting or stretch it out. But you basically play as a stray cat who then finds himself in the
Mm,
underground,
that one.
where all the humans have escaped, and it is being left and all that's left behind are all of their like robot helpers. And as a stray cat, you're trying to find your way back up to the surface. and the cast of characters, the animation, the it's a beautiful game to look at. The animated cat, like the movement and everything is like stellar. The dialogue, the interacting, like you're basically you don't have any dialogue yourself,
Mhm.
but you have a little like robot companion, and you meet the robot helpers along the way that have kind of become sentient, being left alone from their human counterparts, stuff like that. Stellar little indie game. If anybody's listened to the podcast, you know that I love indie games more than I love the AAA titles and the bigger games. Same with like something like Somerville and As Dusk Falls and Tunic. These are all stellar independent games. A lot of these I found on the free, not okay. I say free,
No,
not
not free.
necessarily free,
Not free.
because
Subscription.
I pay the $10 a month or whatever it is for like Xbox Game Pass, and a lot of these games show up on that as a free download.
Yeah, but still, in that case, you're
Technically,
paying $120 for a year, and you get a whole slew of
mhm.
games, and you get a chance to try things that you would never otherwise even think to
And
look.
this is why I've been inundated with all of these indie games, because PlayStation and oh, hold on. Did we read this year?
I did not. I read nothing this year.
Allison is very disappointed in us because
I
Allison read 91 books this year,
and she's
and she
amazing.
hopes that one of us has read a couple of books.
Yeah,
Now,
so
speaking
but
of books,
yeah, mhm,
I'm very pleased to say that in 2023, one of the things I am most looking forward to in 2023, which is something that we will get on to, is that Dennis Lehane is putting in a new book in 2023. And I don't remember the name of it right now, but if
no,
anybody, again, has listened to the podcast, you know how much I fucking love Dennis Lehane and his Kenzie, Gennaro and Kenzie series. So I am very happy about that. We will get into some of the other shit that we're looking forward to in 2023. I'm going to bring in, we have my friend Ashley sitting in the lobby. I'm going to bring her in,
okay.
talk about some of the news and stuff. Boop. Added to the stream is my friend Ashley,
Hello,
who
Ashley.
who I think is sitting in her car.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Anyway,
She's
why
her
can't we hear you?
microphone is there we
Sorry.
perfect. There you
Oh,
go. Now
there
we
we
can hear
go.
you
Now we can hear you.
perfectly.
So, big news stories of 2023. Are you ready to get in on the big news stories of 2023, Ashley? Because that's what we're moving on to. Thumbs up. Excellent. So, one of the big, of course, news stories of 2023 is the Peter Safran and James Gunn taking over the DCEU and all of what's come out of that. So, of course, we had Cavill leave Witcher to become Superman again, then be told he wasn't going to play Superman anymore and not be able to go back to The Witcher. So now he's going on to Warhammer 40K. You and me, when we
that's a little
first
bit
heard about the
all
James
confusing
Gunn
and
thing. Sorry?
oh,
think we're
I was
delayed
just
now.
saying that yeah, a little bit maybe.
Eh.
Are we good?
We're fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say that, it was really, really exciting to hear that Cavill was going to be rejoining as Superman. And, although the leaving of the Witcher part was not good, considering that they decided to leave that to somebody that I'm not entirely sure can take over the property very well. But then for that to all just fall apart, it was devastating. I'm very sad. But
Now, I still trust in Gunn.
yes.
I think he knows what he's doing and where he wants this to go.
Mm-hmm.
But the cancellation of Wonder Woman, the cancellation of Cavill as Superman, he's done a lot of drop. Like he's literally getting rid of essentially the Snyderverse.
Yes.
And what has come of that? I mean, the Wonder Woman movies were Patty Jenkins, but the Wonder Woman inclusion into the DCU, of course, started in Batman v Superman, which was part of the Snyderverse, and then grew from that with Justice League and everything. So I don't know if they're trying to clean house.
Oh, I think
of the
that's exactly what
Schneiderverse.
they're trying to do. Yeah, yeah. They're trying to they're trying to start a new book, essentially.
I mean, even though the Flash movie is still getting released, I believe all of the cameos are originally planned for it have been dropped.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Possibly minus the Michael Keaton Batman.
I think that that's still happening because that's still planned to be in the Flash movie, which seems to still be on track. So yeah,
Yeah, but the Ben Affleck cameos as Batman, I heard, have been cut.
Yeah, probably.
And I believe Wonder Woman was supposed to make a cameo, which has now been cut as well.
Yeah.
And then the new Wonder Woman 3 movie has been put on quote unquote hiatus. The Black Adam, any sequels or not, have been put on hold. I don't know what's actually going to be coming from the DCEU anytime soon.
I don't think we know. Now, we brought Ash on here. Does she want to do you have some feelings about all of this stuff? Like, is the DC universe something that you have some investment in and that you kind of have an opinion on what is happening right
now? No. Sorry, no, I wouldn't say I have a huge opinion when it comes to. I think there's just a lot of that kind of superhero stuff that I just got a little bit overwhelmed with.
Yep, that's an understandable feeling.
And then once you step away, I find it's kind of hard to just jump back in. I wouldn't even know where to start at this point. That's why I do like watching you guys, because you give me some better ideas of where maybe to jump in and maybe not where not to jump in.
Yeah. I have a feeling that the way that this is, at least with DC, Marvel is another entity, of course, entirely. But at least with DC, I think that if you start watching if you watch the Flash movie when it comes out, that will probably be where you need to be. And that would, if you were at all interested in the DC universe at all, that would be the place to jump into it, because it will be the launch point. I think that.
But my only problem with that is the Flash movie was made before the Gunn and Safran takeover.
Yes, but it is going to be the multiverse, right? So it's going to basically introduce this whole possibility of other characters. So I have a feeling that it will be the branch point kind of thing. So it might be a place to start if you're haven't been on board for a few years, which I don't really blame people. I mean, as much as I'm invested in the whole Marvel, in all of the Marvel properties now, because I have been watching since the beginning, basically, it's a lot. So I mean, DC is a little bit less complicated on that level. It's not quite as many properties to incorporate, but it has its own level of it has its own complexities, just different ones. It's just we have multiple of the same thing.
I think that's what Gunn and Safran are going to bring to the DC EU. It is going to become Marvel-ish, because they are going to dig the trenches and find all of the unique and interesting characters and bring them forward instead. Maybe. The only problem up to the DC now is we've been dealing with the top 4.
Yeah, of course.
And they haven't given any ground to anybody else yet. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. Now, seeing as you just mentioned, we do have Ashley here. Yeah. And so you've been listening in since we started. I think you commented on it earlier. Your movie of the year is Everything Everywhere.
Yeah, it was one of those movies, like, I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, I need to see this. And then it was everything I wanted it to be.
Nice.
And I find that doesn't happen a lot. I find trailers, they'll just take those little bits from that they want you to see, and then you see it and it's not even anything to do with the trailer.
I have interesting news. Where is it? Starting next year, movie studios can now be sued for deceptive trailers.
Oh, no way. That's
so if you go see a movie that all the good parts of the trailer don't show up in the movie or whatnot, and you feel like if you've been
it's like befuddled, only good parts. There's only the parts in the trailers that, like, that's the only thing in the movie, and it's it just wasn't, it leaves you wanting more. Whereas Everything Everywhere All at Once was it was everything.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah,
And I was very
I
happy.
liked. The one thing I liked about Everything Everywhere All at Once is that in a year of remakes, sequels, and whatnot, it was the first movie that came out this year that was a standalone original entity that
Yeah.
was just stellar.
Yeah, it was completely its own creative thing, and it didn't rely on previous existing material in any way, shape, or form. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Ashley, did you take in any series this year that you recommend?
No, I didn't really get. There's a lot of series that I'm overwhelmed by because I feel like people are talking about their favorites and I don't know which one to pick. I watched Cowboy Bebop.
Mm.
I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, and it was, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, but I don't think that's what I was expecting.
Okay. Yeah.
And
No, you're much like me. Like, I mean, I still haven't watched like the original Game of Thrones, Breaking Bads, stuff like that, Sons of Anarchies, and all that because the hype behind them was just so much with everybody talking about it that I was just like, I don't want to watch this and
yeah,
either just become one with the masses and or get disappointed by it. Like the expectations were put so high that I was like, I've tried to watch Game of Thrones numerous times. I've watched the first 3 episodes of Game of Thrones 5 times,
Yeah. Well,
trying to get into the show, and I just can't.
as I
I
said,
did try to get into the Ring of Power, but I felt like it didn't seem like I didn't feel Lord of the Rings at all the whole time. I felt like it seemed like an adaptation of like a video game like Elder Scrolls or something. And I never once felt any Lord of the Rings. Whereas House of Dragon, I felt very Game of Thronesy like the whole time. Like I knew what I was watching. So, but those are the 3 shows pretty much I only watched this year.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
did feel that Rings of Power was more Lord of the Rings than The Hobbit was, though.
Oh, well, yeah, but I think anything was going to be more Lord of the Rings than
I would have liked The Hobbit to have taken the Rings of Power approach and put it into a series. If you're going to stretch that out into 3 movies, you could have stretched it out into an 8-episode series instead.
Might have been better.
I still haven't watched the 3rd one. I refuse to watch the 3rd Hobbit movie.
Don't watch it.
That's
Skip.
probably for the best. If you need the entire 3rd Hobbit movie wrapped up into one scene, Legolas can defy gravity.
Yeah. That was a problem. For sure.
Elves can fly. Potentially.
Yeah, just you are right to refuse to watch that particular one for sure. It isn't worth your time. It really
felt like a money grab to me.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't have been 3 movies. That was a very very
greedy.
Two movies maybe. That it could have done 2 for sure. But
I think 1 epic movie.
Yeah. Yeah, one very epic movie that requires maybe an intermission or
yeah. I do feel like M. Night Shyamalan missed an opportunity to make a TV show. I feel like the movie Old was too much for 1 movie.
Interesting.
He tried to pack too much into like 2 hours, and he should have tried to do like a limited series or something. I think he missed that opportunity with this movie.
That's an interesting point.
So this is something we can discuss.
Yeah.
Because M. Night, though he's been slightly disappointing at times since like Lady in the Water, there's been a few upsides like Split, stuff like that haven't been complete disasters, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I think his work in today's current crop of how things are going, I think he would do very well in a series.
Yeah.
Something like what Del Toro's doing with his Cabinet of Curiosities and shit like that. I think taking his work into long story is probably best for him right now. Like give him like an 8-episode swing of one of his like twisted, turny kind of like even something like The Sixth Sense. It's not like that, like not that itself, but that style stretched out into like whereas each episode the kid sees a new dead person and it's kind of like a quantum leap thing where he's trying to help that dead person or whatever's issues. Like M. Night could do some long stories if he's given 8 to 10 episodes of something. So yeah, I didn't actually watch Old, but
No,
now that you bring it
I
up,
love
M.
it.
Night could really do well with a
I wouldn't
series.
say I'd recommend it. It's just it feels like it was almost good. So
Almost good. Interesting.
too much for one movie,
Okay.
for sure.
Did you see any live music this year? Did you take in any music?
I went to see Hawksley Workman.
Ooh. Oh, he's somebody I like. Yeah.
He always puts on an amazing show. I've seen him 12 times.
Oh,
Once
wow.
a year. It's
Nice.
like 2008. So, and he just makes me feel good. And it was such a weird year. I needed to feel happy.
Next time he's coming, you have to tell me.
Like if keep your eyes open. Hawksley loves going to Europe, so if it might be. I know he's gone to Germany a few times.
I have to do that. Yeah, because I don't think I've actually ever seen him live. I've seen him in person once when he was sort of behind Sarah Slane when she was getting her start, and I saw him at one of her shows, but I've never actually seen him perform, and I would really like to do that sometime. It'd be cool.
Highly recommend, yeah.
Cool.
Okay. We're gonna wrap this up in a couple. We're hitting the 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
So Ashley, overall, your 2022. Tie it up in a nutshell. Pop culture wise, the things you've taken in. Was it a banner year for movies and music and TV? Was it a shit year? Was it a year?
I think people are still confused. I think there's people that still don't want to go to movie theaters and stuff. I think 2023 is when people are just going to kind of get a bit more back to normal and just, live life how it's supposed to be lived.
Yeah.
Well, 2023 does look like, theater going wise, a really good year. I mean, from Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania to Cocaine Bear to the next Scream movie to Dungeons and Dragons to John Wick to what?
Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear?
Of course I'm laughing at it. You're supposed to laugh at that. It's
to Guardians of the Galaxy, the next Fast movie. Yes, we all know that Fast X is going to make heaps of money, whether it should or it shouldn't. Spider-Man Through the Multiverse should be fucking amazing.
That's gonna be great.
There's another Transformers movie coming out for some reason. I'm mildly intrigued by the Barbie movie just because of who's
Oh no,
involved.
that's going to be excellent. That is definitely going to be a tongue-in-cheek examination of society bullshit. It's going to be awesome. And and I want to wish Anna a happy New Year as well. Wish was one in the comments there. So yes, but yes,
happy New Year, Anna.
I'm gonna wish you guys happy New Year and let you finish your little show here.
Well,
so
thanks for jumping on.
Thank you for coming on. That was awesome.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
We have the Flash movie. We have Indiana Jones. We have Mission Impossible. We have another Ghostbusters movie coming up. We have the Marvels. We have Oppenheimer. We have part 2 of Dune. We have Wonka. We have the Blue Beetle. We have Craven. We have the Aquaman movie. I mean, 2023 seems like the theater going year, if there ever was one.
I think there's
2022 seemed like the stay at home and watch movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I mostly enjoyed Everything Everywhere All Once. Banshees. As much as I saw Marcel the Shell in theater, it was the Bite Down. It was smaller. This wasn't the year for IMAX and fucking everything else. If you look through our if you go through our drive and look through the list of the movies that came out this year, a lot of the ones that we picked for some of the better movies of the year were either streaming movies or movies that we did watch at home.
Yeah.
I mean, RRR really deserved the theater treatment, and I'm sad I didn't see it on the big screen.
That would have been amazing, for sure.
But everything else, from Emily the Criminal to The Black Phone to I Love My Dad to fucking what else on here? The Bubble, Turning Red,
Banshees?
Weird.
Yes. Well,
sorry?
Banshees as well.
Banshees, which we just recently watched.
Yeah.
Something like The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
which I
Like,
just watched today, and it's awesome.
yeah,
Everybody should watch that. Yeah.
like this was the year of the stay home and really take in
Mhm.
some of the lower budgeted indie style films.
Yeah.
Whereas I think next year is the everybody fucking get your popcorn,
Right.
get your big old fountain drinks, get back to the seats, get back to the big screen, yada yada. Like we're we're obviously advocates of hitting the movie theaters and
Mhm.
whatnot. But I'm also afraid, well, not afraid of it. I'm looking forward to it. The next year looks to be a stellar year for television with stuff like The Last of Us coming up
Yes.
and the new season of The Boys bringing in Jeffrey Dean Morgan and season 5, I think if it happens next year, of like Stranger Things and
Mm.
whatnot. So it looks like it's going to be a good 2023 looks like it could be a good year
Yeah.
all around.
Yeah. And for me,
And
Return of Doctor Who with
in the
David
return of
Tennant.
Doctor Who, that was one of the news things that I was going to bring up is that, of
Ah,
course, Tennant's back, but he's not sticking around as the Doctor. He's
but he's still doing, yeah, yes, Ashley Nicholas Cage, because unbearable weight of massive talent. The but yes, I mean he is coming for a 3-episode arc, so I am super excited about that.
Oh, one thing we also did. Oh, wait, no, I don't think we didn't talk about anything. I think we've covered most of it. I mean, it was a stellar year. We, I think, as a podcast, because of the way that the world works, may have had an off year for
We weren't able to do as many specials and such
or
because
interviews and stuff
yeah,
because
health and
a lot of the bands that we've had
schedules.
on before, they were all touring.
Yeah,
They were
which
up
is great.
north. I mean, Taming
Yay!
Stereo was
Yeah,
ripping around
yeah,
all of
late night
northern
troubles,
fucking
cynical
Canada and shit like
sons.
that.
Yeah, they were all doing stuff and good. I'm glad Resist the Throne.
And
I'm glad they were
very
out
happy for
doing
them, but it's hard to get anybody in for an interview when they're
it.
dashing all around the world. Fucking, I mean, Taming Stereo this year, we could give them another award for last year. We gave them Local Legends. This year, again, we could do the same thing because they've had multiple releases with Crazy and No Shelter, both charting in Canada.
Yeah,
I mean, both
yeah,
on legitimate like rock charts here in Canada. So Tammy Sari just absolutely killing it again for another year. Having seen Seville a couple of times, they are doing the same old stellar stuff that they've done. Adams to Ashes, who are some of our favorites. They in the next year, as we've been on a lot of their live streams and talked to them a bunch, are working on a new album, full length album. So not sure if that like I don't think it'll be released in 2023, but their 2023 is going to be huge.
Getting
Working on the
it.
new album, stuff like that. We have a whole bunch of things planned for our 2023. We're going to try and get back to
We have some new specials
like our
coming.
first year. We have specials. We're going to hit more segments. It's going to be less just news and reviews. It's going to be more of us getting back to having the fun that we used to have and just the absurd stuff like recasting
Silly.
movies and yeah, hopefully. I mean, we still have one of us that's working on a PhD and
Has to
has
finish
to
this year, like this year.
has to
So
finish this year. So she's going to be hard work at that. I just have to survive 2023
Thank you,
and
Dana.
hope that it doesn't continuously try and kill me. But yeah, so we want to wish everybody out there a happy new year and thank you for being part of our 2022. Your support, your listenership,
Thank you.
you're joining us in all of our fun babbles and rants and playing along, and of course all of those that joined our music league that'll be starting up
Oh
again
my God,
soon.
yes, that's so much
The new
fun, and I
year.
we can do more of that. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
if
all
anybody
of
else wants to join, I mean, you get lengthy playlists of just fun music.
That's
Everybody's
overly
been fucking
lengthy.
amazing in that. We like to thank all of our listeners, our followers, everybody who uh, keeps us doing this shit. I mean, we'd still be doing it without you, but it's nice to have you along.
Yeah, indeed.
And I say that's not true. If people weren't playing along, if people weren't commenting, if people weren't enjoying what we were doing, I probably wouldn't do it. I mean,
Get bored.
there comes a time where you're just like, okay, we're just basically talking to each other, and we can do that without recording it.
This is true. We could.
So having other people out there that are actually and like Ashley coming on and Chris commented earlier that we do some good in providing some of our listeners with the do's and do nots, or the whatevers of looking forward to or not looking forward to this and that and the other thing. So if people want to listen to our bullshit, then I will continue to spread it about as much as I can.
Yep.
Um,
Frequently.
but yeah, so 2023, we're hoping to get right back on the boat, and from what it looks like, is it should be a good year for us in general, to have more shit to talk about, more stuff to do, more segments to hit up, more specials, stuff like that. If you're looking for another live stream, we mentioned it earlier in March. On March 11th, we will be doing our pre-Oscar Oscars, where we will be giving out our own awards for the Oscars and the movies and the everything that we feel that should win. Till
Happy
then,
New
actually, yeah, we should also mention that this is kind of our last hurrah for the next
the
little
year.
while, because we usually, and up till now, have pretty much frequently taken January off to reset, come up with some new ideas, get the brain juices flowing, and just take a rest, really. So we'll be back with our traditional Valentine's Day episode on the 14th, and that's when season 4 will start, and we hope you will all join us in that. So that's the end of this. Why?
Bye.
Because it's been over 2 goddamn hours of listening to
Exactly.
us fucking babble. But thanks for coming along.
Indeed.
And we'll see you in the new year. Well, further into the new year, because it's like, okay, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up now.
Bye, guys. Happy New Year.
Yeah, what she said.